Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is May the 26th, 2017. I want to thank the person who sent me some Monero and thank the person who sent me some Ethereum. That was very nice. Well, what a week it's been. We've entered the realm of 2000. It has been just an insane week. Media all over the place covering Bitcoin. Mainstream, we got into ICO madness. And we have a great panel of guests, some you're familiar with, and the new guy. So Daniel of Decred is here. Again, Shane, the independent optimist, you all know him. And introducing Rocky Palumbo of the Bitcoin user group of the Inland Empire out there in California. Welcome to the show, guys. And we're going to talk about so many things. I want to start with, and their links are below, hopefully. I will update their links if they want me to add other things and ways to contact them. Always check out the link section below. And remember to pound that like button, people. We're just getting started. So, Daniel, we're going to talk about Decred soon because there's always great Decred news. But obviously, Bitcoin dominated this week. It got way over 2,700. Now it's back down to, I think, 2,400. I don't even know. It's just like, I'm so happy it's over 2,000. Why even pay attention? Buy and hold. So Daniel, why is this going on? What are your thoughts on this situation?
Well, personally, I think Bitcoin is doing what it is doing because technically, we have an all-time high. We came out of a horrific, it was a 1 or 2 year downtrend for Bitcoin. And I think during that period of time, I think Bitcoin was legitimized in so many ways by governments of countries around the world. We had an increase in exposure, and not only that, but the rate of inflation has gone down as well. So, I know we talked about this in the last time I was on your show, Adam, but there's only 21 million Bitcoins ever, and what people don't realize is, how many of those Bitcoins are lost. How many of them will never move? Until we can maybe find a collision and take them out of the address, which is that's a long way away, if ever. They'll probably change things by then, but it's simple supply and demand, in my opinion. You've got a global market that's open 24/7, and you've got people all around the world that are finding out about Bitcoin, and that are excited about it. I've got people that you would never imagine asking me, hey, what is this Bitcoin? How do you buy Bitcoin? I hear people are getting in an Uber and the Uber driver says, hey, do you know about Bitcoin? Like, hey, I'm the Bitcoin guy. Like, you know what I mean? And you're like, actually, man, like I've been doing this for like 3 years. And, people are always shocked to hear that you've known about it for so long. But, with so few Bitcoins and 7-8 billion people in the world, come on. That's why the price is going up. People all want a piece of the pie.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up question. I'm going to ask the other guests the same question. It's a two-part question. Is there a worldwide shortage of Bitcoin? And have countries, because you mentioned countries, have the actual government started to secretly buy Bitcoin up for their own stashes?
I think that to say that the governments have begun to buy Bitcoin, I think that's definitely a possibility, although, at this point, at least, it is just speculation. I don't see it as being something that is outside the realm of possibility, though. Especially you see countries in Africa, that are struggling with their currencies, and they want to have their currency backed by something that is secure, that has worth, that has value. And I think Bitcoin's an excellent opportunity for those countries to have that kind of backing for their currency. And having a strong currency leads to having a strong economy as well. But yeah, as funny as that sounds, man, we are experiencing a worldwide Bitcoin shortage right now, and it's glorious. I gotta tell you.
All right, Shane, you have in the past talked about countries buying up Bitcoin, that it's going to start. You've had your theories about Asia before. And I want to hear, has it started in your opinion, and is there a worldwide Bitcoin shortage now? Coinbase has gone down at least twice in the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I saw Coinbase went down at least twice in my experience when I was trying to access it. And a couple of the exchanges, the crypto exchanges also were lagging. Poloniex was really slow, and I think a lot of other exchanges are linked to Poloniex, and so everything was kind of slowed down. But I do think that Japan has something to do with it. They've kind of been a forerunner nationally in Bitcoin adoption. So they probably have something to do with it. There might be some behind the scenes competition between them and China. Who knows? But I do think that the scarcity issue has only just sort of become visible to the market. People are really starting to realize that there isn't an infinite amount of these things, and what that actually means for the value of it. The market is really starting to get a hold of that now and understand that a little better than they probably didn't before. And we've been seeing a lot of actually positive reporting and articles out there in the mainstream media about Bitcoin over the last month, which is a little surprising. But that's kind of part of that whole cycle of resistance. They fight you and they make fun of you, et cetera, and then pretty soon they're talking about you, and it's just all mostly positive and objective, as opposed to all the FUD that they've been spreading for the last 7 years.
Well, that's excellent there. I wanted to remind everyone, you can get t-shirts like this. Go check out the links section below. I forgot to do that. And you can get your Trezor and your storage devices at CryptoHW Wallet. This, Rocky, I wanted to say, Shane brought up a very interesting point, and actually Daniel said it too. Scarcity. And people were realizing the Bitcoin scarcity that's out there. But yet, then with the altcoins, I don't know if people are considering that some of them aren't very scarce at all. So, Rocky, you've got a lot of questions here on your plate. Do you have any thoughts on the scarcity of Bitcoin? Do you have any thoughts on if countries are buying it up? Is there a Bitcoin shortage at exchanges all over the world? What is your reasons for what is going on with Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, just look at the price. That tells you right there what's going on. If you factor in that price, I mean, you got to just assume that a lot of people are buying Bitcoin up, and that's what's making the price go up. It actually ties in with my story I'm here to talk about today about one broker. This is why they're having the main issue they're having there is the extreme growth of their user base.
Actually, you read my mind here. The follow-up question to this was, tell us the one broker situation. So people don't know, most of the people that are watching this don't know what is going on at one broker. Tell us what one broker is and what is going on now, what the announcement they just made.
Sure. Let me just share my screen here, and I'll give you a view of what you can do on one broker. It's just a website that allows you to take positions on different markets without getting KYC'd. You just go in with Bitcoin, come out with Bitcoin. So that's kind of an advantage. But the disadvantage is, they don't know you, so you don't know them. You don't really know who's running it or where they are in the world. So it's kind of risky putting too much Bitcoin in there. You want to just put small amounts and just to play around with. So here you could see their Forex market, what they have available. In stocks, they got about 24 different stocks. The indices here and commodities, they only have gold, silver, and crude oil. And when it comes to crypto, they've only had Bitcoin on here. I've been on this site for about 2 years. I've been using it. And they've only offered Bitcoin, but as of yesterday morning, about 11 a.m. Pacific time, they stopped users from taking new positions on Bitcoin. And if you already have an open position, you have to close it by June 9th, or they will close it for you. I think it's June 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And so, like I said, the reason for this is their extreme growth of their user base. Their system that they designed just wasn't meant to handle this many users placing this many positions. So if you come here and read their blog, you can get more detail. And if you click right here, it'll take you to onegox.com, which is their new site that's going to handle the Bitcoin trading, or the positions, opening and closing of the positions. Now, why they called it OneGox, I have no idea. That's a good question. But there's some interesting information on here that we never had, or at least I've never seen before. It says on here that it's a project by One Pool, and I've never seen that before. And here they say they're hoping to launch this new platform for Bitcoin in Q3 of this year. But if you click on the One Pool here, it takes you to another front page of a website that actually says that One Pool is the corporation behind One Broker. Now, I never heard that before. And they do have an address down here. So that is in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean if you want to go visit them there. And of course, you know, if you write them there, there's no street address. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is the world of Bitcoin. This, you know, where is it really? And the funny thing is, people have heard of this on this show, I'm sure, because Tone Vays does bring it up. He warns people. I mean, there's a warning he always says, but I wanted to remind everyone that yes, you've heard it before on Tone Vays' show about this this interesting thing. Now they're taking it to another level apparently, and they've chosen a really weird name that reminds people of Mt. Gox, but that just shows you, I think, how many newbies are into this, that they can use a name like Gox and get away with it. I don't even, who knows what the logic is of using that name. I hope it has nothing to do with Mt. Gox, and I hope it's not some subliminal foreshadow or something like that. Maybe I'll have to ask Webbot. Anyway, so what it really means, since Webbot reads people's minds. All right. Let's move on to. Is that all you had to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you or anything. I wanted to move to Daniel with some altcoin thoughts. There is anything else you wanted to share about that?
Yes. Well, with that name, I just hope that it's not Mark Karpeles behind it.
I hope it's not. I hope he's not sunbathing in the South Pacific with the Gox out there. All right. So this week also brought a lot of ICO mania to New York City, especially. There were two conferences. Tone Vays was on the ground there just saying that this ICO thing was the biggest thing since the South Pacific tulip bubble or whatever, South Sea, whatever. I'm getting confused, all these South Sea stuff. Daniel, you are a guy who's obviously knows about altcoins, and because you're a Decred representative, and tell us your feel on this ICO madness. Is it bringing in newbies? Is it irrational exuberance? What is your take on the ICO situation that clearly bubbled up to unprecedented levels? I mean, Vinny Lingham is doing an ICO now. Is he going to legitimize it for people? Go ahead.
Well, I think, you know, there's definitely pros and cons to an ICO, and I think before, you know, we've labeled them all as evil. You know, while some of them absolutely are, it's important to kind of look at it objectively. And I mean, what is an ICO? It's a crowd fund, right? And in exchange for this crowd fund, and usually how they get around the legal consequences of having something like that is, you know, you're going to donate money to them, and in exchange for these donations, which are purely that, you know, you don't have any kind of ownership at all in what they're doing or what's going on, they're going to give you these tokens on their blockchain. And I mean, sometimes it is a legitimate way to raise money. And it's a quick way to raise money. And the thing is, you know, if I wanted to participate in an IPO, I believe that it would be much more difficult for me to get my money in the hands of whatever company, you know, and I would actually be taking ownership in that company. But it's absolutely absurd when you see, I mean, like I have like 2,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, what if I had, you know, Crypto Messiah coin, right? And people would literally give me 1,000 Bitcoin, like, and I'm not even kidding. I mean, why the hell would anyone want to give me 1,000 Bitcoin? I mean, not to say I'm, you know, not a good trader or anything, but, you know, you see this going on right now. And you see some Twitter personalities and stuff like taking advantage of the situation that is going on. And also you see these situations where you have an ICO where you have a large kind of pre-buy into the ICO, and you've got these institutional investors, because, you know, there is Wall Street money in crypto now, and there's big VC money, and, you know, they're going to feed in basically capital to get this ICO or get this project off the ground, but they're actually going to get, you know, a 100% cheaper price than anybody else participating in the ICO. And now we're going to leave the ICO uncapped. So what does this do? Well, first and foremost, people are just throwing money at anything right now. So I have an uncapped ICO. I raised 10,000 Bitcoin, And anybody that participates in this ICO becomes insanely diluted, which means that you almost receive 0 tokens for what you actually put in. And then you have VCs and institutional investors that aren't being diluted and don't care about the drawdown that may occur after it. So what happens is, you know, as an average Joe, I put my money in, my investment goes down 50, 100, 200%. The VCs are still in profit. Then they buy my coins at a huge discount. I sell because I'm enraged. Then they're going to pump it. I'm even madder. I mean, it really is just madness right now. But hey, 'tis the season. And I guess, you know, with Bitcoin being as high as it is right now, this is the exact time when people are going to take advantage of others like this.
Yes, we do have to be careful about scammers entering now. I'm not saying all ICOs are scam, but this is a time I'm getting spammed all my comment section with all sorts of new scammers that are out there. Hey, pound that like button, 156 live viewers. Shane, do you have any follow-up thoughts on the ICO situation or on altcoins in general this week? That's a little bit of a different subject, but what do you think's going on?
Well, the ICO thing, I generally look at it and realize that I don't have the time or the intelligence to understand it completely, and then just figure I'm gonna, acquire as much Bitcoin as I can and hold on to it. I have a lot of people asking me about all this new kind of stuff, which I do not know, and I tell them to be very careful what they research. You know, make sure if they're getting into anything that they really know what they're getting into, because it's complicated enough to me to realize that I don't have the time or the skills to be able to make any money doing anything like this, and I'll probably end up losing everything that I put into it just because that's just me and that's my personality. So that's my take on it. As far as altcoins, I don't know, they've been kind of crazy, haven't they?
Yeah, they sure have. And we'll I want to go on to Rocky. You're a member of a Bitcoin user group out there in California, the Inland Empire. Is there any talk about this ICO stuff out there? And if there isn't, and if people are ignoring the altcoins ICOs, tell us what do you think is next for Bitcoin? So that's a two. What's next for the price of Bitcoin after such a crazy week? So a two-part question there. They're kind of two different questions.
Well, I don't hear a whole lot about the ICOs out here. At the user group meetings, the meetups, we pretty much focus on just Bitcoin, just learning about it, how it works, getting into, pretty deep. Sometimes I get pretty deep of the mechanics of it, but not too much about the ICOs. As far as they go, I would just have to say, be careful. Do your due diligence, as much research as you can to find out about them before you give anybody your money.
Excellent point. And remember, Bitcoin is precious, people. Gold and hold your Bitcoin. Treat it like gold. You might think to yourself, well, I'm going to triple it if I invest in this ICO. Dude, there's nothing guaranteed. Be very careful. Holding Bitcoin has been very good to a lot of people since we've been talking about it on this channel for a year. So, Rocky, the follow-up for you there, though, what do you see for the price of Bitcoin? Do you see this week? Do you see a lot of turbulence ahead for Bitcoin here, or do you see straight to the moon, $3,000 next week? What do you think's going on? Are there too many newbies entering the market? What do you think for the future?
Well, I'm long on Bitcoin. I believe in it. I think it has a definite future. I probably own too much of it, and
you can never own too much of it. You can. I disagree with that. I know how much you own. You don't own too much of it. Trust me.
Well, you shouldn't own more than you're willing to lose.
Okay.
So I mean, you could, if you're thinking about that, you could own too much, but it's hard. It's hard to stop buying it. It gets addictive.
Wow, that's quite a statement there. At even over $2,000. Shane, do you have a prediction for where do you see Bitcoin going next here? Is it going to be? Are we going to be filled with turbulence here? I mean, we had like a 400-point drop. It doesn't bother me because I just care about the future. I mean, I'm a long-term thinker. But are people going to have to get used to more $400 drops? Of course, going from the high 2000s to the low 2000s is We could never even imagine that a month ago. So what do you think for the near future and far future here, Shane?
Yeah, I was going to say it was a 400-point drop after a 600-point rise over the last day, and then it went up 300 points right after that drop. So I didn't even have the time to check on that before it happened. I came in later and realized that the price had collapsed, and I saw these stories saying, "Oh, the price of Bitcoin's down 400," and then it recovered by 300 or whatever. But yeah, there's going to be more turbulence. I see. I was kind of surprised to see it going up so steadily over the last couple of days. I was really surprised by that. I was expecting a few more downturns, but honestly, I have been looking at 3,000 by the end of the year, and I think it's on point to probably supersede that by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3,000 by the end of next month at some point. But I do see it as being a pretty turbulent ride to that.
Yeah, did you? And that 3,000 by the end of the year, that is something I did not predict. That is something I got from Vinny Lingham. Did you get? Is that your Vinny Lingham based one, or is that just from the top of your head? 3,000 by
I don't know if I got it from Vinny or not. I probably did.
It was so. I remember when he first said it. It was. I would just leave it at this. It was very inspiring to me. Very inspiring to me when he first said that over a year ago now, I believe it was. And he looks like. I mean, a lot of people have said things about Vinny lately, but I mean, he looks like he's spot on with that one. Daniel of Decred, I want to hear your thoughts on what's next for Bitcoin. More turbulence. People got to have a strong hand, or well, should they have weak hands? And then give us an update with Decred, because there are a lot of people out there that want to hear about Decred. So take it away.
Well, I think with Bitcoin, and I'm sure people have that have been in this space know this quote, and I hope nobody's offended by it, but it is "buy the fucking dip," and I still believe in that. When you look at just how bullish Bitcoin did, the actual candle structure, and the technicals of Bitcoin are right now, I don't think there's any end in sight. And I'm not one of these guys that's going to be unrealistic and say, $1 million Bitcoin in 2017. Although maybe one day that is foreseeable if we want to look way far out. But I definitely think 3,000 is in our near future. After 3,000, we'll hit 4,000. I think maybe this year 4,500 to 5,000 will be the top. But just in terms of a real blow off top, we haven't seen anything like that yet. And people, I feel like there's so many noobs in crypto, and especially in markets. Like, most people just think, oh, I get to invest, I'm going to buy something, right? But these noobs come in and they're like, oh, I can do this thing called short. That makes me feel so pro. I'm an amazing trader. I'm going to short this. I can short this market. I can make money when it goes down. But don't do it. I mean, we're in a very, very strong uptrend, and anybody that can tell you definitively where top is just a liar or a noob. I mean, nobody knows. So until it's not in an uptrend, don't short. It's just a buy all day long.
Wow. Well, on that note, buy Bitcoin, buy and hold Bitcoin. Pound that like button, people. Golden hold. I would tell us what's going on with the Lightning Network on Decred, and just an update with Decred, because everybody loved when you were on before talking Decred, and we have a lot. We always talk about at least one altcoin on this show. So tell us what's up with Decred these days.
Yeah, so actually, myself and another representative of Decred went to New York to attend Consensus. We didn't actually have a booth, but it was awesome. I met a lot of awesome people. Just coming from that event, like I'm just so high on like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, just in general right now, because the atmosphere at the event and just in New York in general was unlike anything I'd ever seen. To see this much passion and this much exposure and this much acceptance for the field was really incredible. But yeah, we spoke to a ton of people about Decred. Matt's a little bit more technical than I am, so he spoke to a lot of the developers and miners, people like that. I spoke with a lot of investors and VCs about Decred in New York, and if it's on my profile picture, and we actually posted it from the Decred Twitter account, we actually hired some break dancers. They showed up at one of the cocktail hours in a legitimate astronaut costume, like so realistic that like it looked like a real astronaut. and they did a breakdance, and they had the Decred patches on. And if anybody can't see, you know, this is the Decred logo. Yeah. But it was a total blast, man. And it just in terms of what Decred is about to do, we've actually met with a professional PR firm in New York, and not just some shrimpy, you know, like crypto PR. I mean, this is like a heavy hitting, like corporate New York PR firm, like big deal. So we're really excited. We're going to start working with them, and you're going to see Decred kind of develop a story, and Decred's going to have a mission. So that's going to be really cool. Now, just in terms of technical developments, Decred is currently on it's in the middle of our first vote, actually a little bit beyond the middle. I believe they're about 60% done at this moment. But just to remind everybody, we were voting on, do we or do we not implement Lightning Network? And this is, you know, something that the Lightning Network devs prefer BTC Suite, which the Decred devs they actually created that Bitcoin library, which is really cool. And we're also voting on changing our difficulty algorithm for our staking. It's going to, you know, kind of ease out the oscillations and make purchasing tickets to vote on issues on our blockchain much more enjoyable. So when these votes conclude, of course, you know, our blockchain will automatically adapt to the new rule set. So the staking difficulty, you know, which at this point, you know, looks like it's going to pass both Lightning Network and this, it'll just automatically go to that new set of rules. And I believe what the development team said was, just because, I mean, it's not ideal for us to vote on if we should do something or not on chain. And that's something that we're working on. We're actually working on a second layer that kind of interacts with our blockchain, and actually voting on whether or not we should do something is going to occur on that second layer. But for now, this vote's going on chain just because for lack of a better mechanism until this other mechanism is developed in the next few months. But we actually will vote again on the Lightning Network, you know, after this vote passes and after it's developed, because what if we don't like the work that they did? What if we don't like the implementation? You know, we need the ability to say, okay, let's develop this. And then we also need the ability as a community to say, you know what, this really didn't work out. So we're really excited about that, just in terms of marketing, technology, PR. I mean, a lot of really cool things are going on for Decred right now. And, you know, some people might say, oh, you know, it kind of seems like you guys are at a standstill. But, you know, I can assure you that behind the scenes, I've never been more excited to be a holder of Decred right now, and just kind of see it move forward the way it is.
Wow, this marketing aspect, professional marketing, you're definitely not at a standstill if you're going up to New York City to do that. And I had no idea you were even there. That you were also an eyewitness to the madness that was going on up in New York. Shane, speaking of altcoins, and tell us about your experience. Oh, we're going to transition a little bit here to Steemit, because those of you who know of Shane, you know I bring him up a lot when I'm talking about Steemit, because I think, you know, Steemit is a great way to solve this demonetization problem that YouTube people have been having. It's a great way to get new people into cryptocurrency. And in this day and age, when everyone seems to want to know about cryptocurrency now, it's definitely getting more into the mainstream. Steemit might have some more people coming to it. Now, once again, I have to remind everyone, I'm talking about Steemit, the platform. You earn something called Steem there. Do not buy the Steem cryptocurrency. I have never said that. I will probably never say to buy the Steem cryptocurrency. It piles up, then you turn it into Bitcoin, which I'm powering down right now. So I'm about to do some of that today, actually, a little later on. But Shane, tell us what's going on with you and Steemit now, and just, you know, give us your thoughts, because there's some people out there who like to talk a big game to you, but they don't. I don't know what they do. They just yell and scream at you or something. You're actually living the life here. So tell us what's up.
Well, yeah, I would also preface by saying I'm not buying Steem either. You know, everything that I'm getting through my Steemit account is all earned. I get it by posting on the website. And also, the funny thing about when you say that people talk a big game online is that lately I've been making it a habit of screen capturing those arguments that people are having with me, and then I post them on Steemit, and then I make I make money from it, while the people who are talking down about it don't.
You know, that's absolutely wonderful to profit off of these bitter trolls. I mean, it is just absolute. You see, you have a positive mindset. So they're out there hating, and then you're just making money. This is hilarious. This is one of the most glorious Steemit stories I have ever heard, and you haven't even told the story yet. So that's great. So trolls, I guess, keep on doing your thing. Stay in your negative mindset over there and let the positive people profit off of your hate. So take it away again, Shane.
No, Steemit actually makes it profitable to feed the trolls. I mean, because they argue and it just kind of goes up against the wall, but I can put it on Steemit and I actually make money off of it. And it's not even unsubstantial. I mean, if you want to make anything off of it, you do have to put some time into it and really focus on it. But just 2 days ago, I was able to get $700 in Bitcoin through Steemit just on that one day, which is something I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I just got it from basically shit posting, on on this website, and you can make money. So I don't have any problem with it. I know some people call it like they say it's a scheme, or it had a pre-mine situation, or any of that stuff. I'm not really concerned with that because I'm actually getting results from it. And those results are increasing. So people can say what they want, but
I think it's really important because it's something new here. They're experimenting over there. Okay, it might totally fail, and sometimes it is like an infomercial over there. But at the same time, it can get new people and people who would never deal with cryptocurrency. We've got an issue with YouTube with demonetization, and to be honest, you are a father, you are a husband, you are taking care of your family any way you can. And if you're a person like that, then why not, if you're a responsible individual who wants to network with people and just experiment with technology, and you need some extra Bitcoin. This whole program of mine is about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and how great Bitcoin is. Well, you have found a way to support your family and get Bitcoin. I mean, it's just, I think you're doing a great thing. You're setting a good example, and you've got a positive mentality. And you've always been a good guy out there now, but I wanted to add this little aspect, flesh you out a little bit so that people see that this is, I admire what you're doing out there. You're doing a good job.
Well, thanks. And there actually have been a few larger YouTube personalities that have come over to Steemit over the last few weeks. And, I'm talking people who have several 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. They go there and they'll post something, and their post will end up earning, $700, $800 just on that one post. And that is a real game changer when you talk about the kind of censorship and demonetization that's going on YouTube, and also other social medias like Twitter and Facebook and the like. This is a real option, that the more that these experiments mature, the more they develop, we'll really start to see this as being a real option for people to actually be able to create the content that they want to create and have it stay the content that they intended it to be.
And again, there's so many people out there who are bitter and saying, "Oh, YouTube demonetized me. Woe is me. What am I to do?" But look, here it is. This is an option that people should. You got to keep that positive mentality. You got to be willing to try. You got to be able to pivot. Always be moving. Always be in motion, people. And Shane is definitely one of those people. All right, I sound like a preacher all of a sudden here, but I wanted to bring that up. Rocky, we got in touch. We're going to transition here to something that hasn't been talked about lately, but it really, and I don't want you to get too in depth because you might be back on the show, another show, just you and I, to talk about this. But Asicboost has not been talked about lately directly. We did have a situation this week where Barry Silbert came to an agreement with miners on how to implement SegWit and then do a hard fork eventually. This is an agreement between some parties, but there's nothing official. It's not the way we're going here. But some people suspected that they agreed to this because the miners will be able to keep their Asicboost and all of that fun stuff. Well, you have some thoughts about Asicboost, Rocky. Tell us what's going on with this Asicboost thing.
Well, also I have some thoughts about that agreement. It's nothing
please,
new.
please, yes, share the agreement thoughts and transition into Asicboost. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, it's really nothing new. People are acting like it's like this great new thing, this new agreement that is so awesome. And the big blockers have been proposing this for at least a year to do the SegWit and then the 2 meg increase after that. But it's just so unnecessary to make that promise. I mean, why make a promise to do something that is very dangerous, because the increase to 2 megs is a hard fork, which is much more dangerous to perform than a soft fork. And so why make that promise to do that? And then when the time comes, I think it said that within 6 months. So 6 months later, after we do SegWit, if it's not even needed, why do it? You're just risking the whole network. And then if you don't do it, now you're risking your reputation. You promised to do it, and you totally lose credibility if you don't. So it's not a good agreement. We need a SegWit. We need a SegWit now. And if it's necessary in the future to do a hard fork to 2 megs, and there's no other technology that could solve the problem, then we'll do the 2 meg. And that's the only thing you should agree to. This is more like, holding a gun to your head saying you have to do it. Another analogy would be like, if you had cancer and you had this growth and the doctor says, well, you've got maybe a year to live, but I'm going to operate on you in 6 months. And I promise I'll operate on you on 6 months and remove this tumor, right? So 5 months later, there's a new cure out, and you take this cure and your tumor is shrinking. But are you still going to have this risky operation, even though now the tumor is shrinking? And that's what SegWit is. SegWit is the cure to the block size issue. Give it a chance. Let's see if it shrinks this tumor, and if it doesn't, we'll look at the best options at that time.
That was beautiful. So follow up quickly with the behind the scenes Asicboost thing, the general what you feel Asicboost really is, as opposed to what people say it is.
Follow up quickly. That's hard.
Okay, so it's too complicated. I guess I would give a preview to what a larger show would be about, dedicated to that.
Okay, I'll try to sum it up.
Yeah, like sum it up in like 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people who are against SegWit, they tend to be very forgiving for this Asicboost, the covert Asicboost, and they look at it as just another optimization for the miners, and it's really not. It's not because of the way it works. It actually is holding Bitcoin back. It's keeping it from implementing SegWit, which is the best way forward at this time. And if you have something that is keeping Bitcoin from advancing, from evolving, then how could that be an optimization?
Yes. So Rocky, he can get into technical terms about why it is not really an optimization. And pound that like button if you want Rocky to come back on this show, a separate show where Rocky and I would just talk about that issue of Asicboost. And we'll get into this SegWit thing, obviously, also. But he's got, obviously, this is This Week in Bitcoin. But I wanted to bring it up because people hadn't been talking about Asicboost yet. So we've got over 200 live viewers here. So pound that like button. I wanted to follow up. Daniel, what do you think about this Barry Silbert Accord? I mean, you were up there when the news broke, I guess.
I think everybody was very excited to hear that just kind of anything was being done or any decisions, has been reached. And you got to give it to Barry, although while I agree that, it sucks to kind of compromise here and say, all right, well, if we fork to 2 megabyte block size, we can push through SegWit, which is, what a lot of holders of Bitcoin have wanted for ages now. it sucks that we have to make that compromise even. But just the general, or at least the people I spoke with, were excited that something was being done, period. And, you know, that's, in my opinion, I think a lot of other people's opinions, been one of the biggest issues with Bitcoin for a while is, I mean, that it's very difficult for Bitcoin to make progress in any direction. And we've reached this point where there's so many different conflicts of interest that it's hard to get everybody to agree on one solution to a problem. Because, you know, why would Bitmain or, you know, whoever it is want to adopt SegWit and give up their competitive advantage over everybody else? I mean, they're a for-profit business, right? And unfortunately for us, they also control a lot of the hash power. We've just reached this situation where I don't think the necessary solution to Bitcoin is to go to SegWit or to megabit blocks or anything. I think the solution is to adapt a better governance mechanism so we can make progress, so at least something can be done. Because right now it's easy. You've got all these talking heads, you know, saying, "Oh, we should do this or we should do that," right? But the real thing is, there's no way to actually poll the community and see what the holders of Bitcoin, the people that actually stand to lose or gain the most, actually, there's no way to see how they actually feel about the issue. There's just people talking about it, and there's loud voices, and some voices are louder than others. And don't think I'm necessarily insulting anybody, because I mean, this is a very obvious issue. How can Bitcoin survive if it can't move forward? So that's what I think should be done. If you ask me personally, I'm a SegWit guy, right? But I'm one of many, and I don't agree with the block size increase either. I think we should, you know, take it one step at a time, get SegWit in. I mean, Litecoin did it; it's working well for them, and everybody says, you know, Litecoin is Bitcoin's testnet, right? So, I mean, why can't we just go ahead and do this? But I think the answer lies within, you know, what I just said, is because there's no mechanism to get anybody to agree on anything with Bitcoin.
Wow, I do like how you got the governance thing in there, because Decred is its thing. That's why Charlie Lee likes Decred, because of its governance structure. So of course, everyone's going to keep that in mind, but still, I know you're speaking from your heart and everything too. I mean, obviously, governance means a heck of a lot to you if you're on the Decred team and everything, and obviously that's going to blend into your thoughts concerning the Bitcoin situation.
It does, Adam, but I'm also a large holder of Bitcoin as well, you know, and I've been a big believer in Bitcoin, and I want to see Bitcoin succeed, you know? So I'm not only just speaking as a Decred guy, because I am, and I'm a holder of Decred, but I have a lot of Bitcoin, and I've worked really hard over the years to get those Bitcoin, and I hope that one day this will create generational wealth for my family. And maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I'm all for giving it the best possibility, you know, the best opportunity that I can. And, you know I'm not a big fish or famous in any way, you know, in that sense. But I mean, I feel very strongly that Bitcoin needs to have some ability to evolve beyond what it has right now.
I will say this: generational wealth. I haven't heard anyone bring it up with Bitcoin yet, but it is so true. That is long-term thinking right there, people. He's planning way ahead. And when there are all these people asking me about all these weird altcoins, do you think these weird altcoins are going to bring you, I mean, like the ones that are pre-mined? I've told people many times, I don't like your altcoin because it's pre-mined. How many times do I have to say all this pre-mined craziness that's going on, where there's 9 billion of them out there? Is that going to bring you generational wealth? Really think about it logically. We've talked about inflation on the show. We've talked about caps, how the demand, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. I mean, keep this all in mind, and then think about generational wealth. What is really going to bring you generational wealth? It's going to help your kids live a lifestyle that'll just be amazing. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but which of these coins is the one that, and I think Bitcoin sticks out. Buy and hold, buy and hold. That's all I've been saying. It simplifies your life. That's the theme over here. I went on a little rant. Shane, do you have any thoughts about the Barry Silbert thing and about SegWit? You don't have to. Or do you want to share your story of the week now? Or if you don't have any thoughts about SegWit, just get into the story of the week.
Well, I'd like to see SegWit. I want to see those fast transactions happening. I saw a video a while back of someone who was testing SegWit and did a transaction, and it happened like in a second with the Lightning Network. And I was thinking, man, that would, you know, where would PayPal be if Bitcoin could transact like that? But I guess the story is, I see a CNBC story where they posted, if you bought $100 of Bitcoin 7 years ago, you'd be sitting on 75 million now. So, you know, this is the era of Bitcoin that we're getting into. People are feeling as though they should have listened to their crazy cousin that was talking about it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, which was probably all of us in our family groups. But I also think it's important to recognize that it's not done yet. You know, I am very long on Bitcoin. I see it making even better gains in the future. You know, by 2020, I'm predicting 10,000. You know, that's my prediction publicly. I'm making that here, but I think that might be one of the reasons why people are jumping into these altcoins too, is because they see that, you know, if they put $1,000 into Bitcoin today and, you know, it quadruples in price, that's a nice gain. But if they put, you know, $1,000 into some random coin that costs 13 cents right now and it goes up to 100, you know, that's really appealing. People want to get into that early adoption. And that might be one of the reasons why the altcoins are really going nuts right now. But then I think I've heard you say, and a couple other people, that once those bubbles start to pop, all that money is going to go flowing right back into Bitcoin. So if you are into those altcoins, it's probably good to have a good chunk of Bitcoin too, to, you know, mitigate that potential risk.
Yes, I like how you alluded to the 2020 halving. Remember, people, I mean, there was a build up to this past halving in 2016. We're going to have another build up to the 2020 halving. A lot of people don't even know what that is. I mean, all the newbies, they don't know what a halving is or anything like that. Okay, let's go to Rocky here. I know you know what the halving is, and I'm sure you're looking forward to 2020 partially for that reason. Is there anything that we left out? Anything that you wanted to bring up? Just some thoughts. I don't know if you know about the Monero situation. If you can comment on that. What would happen with that? If not, we're going to go to Daniel. Will talk about the Monero situation at the end. But for now, it's the floor is yours. Did I forget anything? Is there anything you wanted to talk about?
I don't know much about the Monero situation. I know Fluffy Pony came out and, you know, made an announcement that he was going to make a big announcement, and which kind of pumped the price. And I guess it was, I don't know, he was just fooling around or something, just trying to see what would happen.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the story. What is there anything that I left out this week you wanted to bring up? Anything, or just a story that you had to tell? Any, or a promo of your group? Anything? The floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to invite anyone in the Southern California area that is interested in Bitcoin to come out to one of our meetups. Are you going to be putting my info in the description below?
You know, that's a great. It's already your Facebook link to the Inland Empire group is already below. But I would like you to actually provide any links you want to provide. I will put it below. I'll always check out the link section below, people, because I do put it up. We'll also have a link. Did one broker, you said they had a press release about what's going on over there?
It was a blog.
Okay, yeah. Well, I want to link to that too. You'll email me that afterwards. I
Sure.
know people are curious about that. But yes. So your Inland Empire information will be below. There'll be more, but continue what you're about to say about that.
Yeah, I just want to invite everybody out here who you know, is in a reasonable driving distance. It's the meeting takes place, if you're familiar with the area, pretty much right on the border of Upland and Ontario. It's right off the 10 freeway there. So it's pretty convenient, freeway close. And basically I'll just give a talk, usually about 15 to 30 minutes about one particular subject. Focus on one aspect of Bitcoin, and then we'll just have an hour or so of questions and answers.
This is good for you people down in Southern California. There is obviously a lot of interest in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin down there in the Los Angeles area. Beautiful the weather. All right, and thanks for, it's been great to introduce you to the world today, I guess, your debut here on the show. We'll definitely have you back, and hopefully we will have that Asicboost show coming up, because I think people are interested in that. People do ask me for more technical shows, and this will be interesting. So pound that like button if you guys are excited about something like that in the future. There's got 215 of you guys. I guess this is a good time because people are up in Europe. All right, Daniel, you are going to close this off with things, anything you want to say, but at the same time, I want to get your commentary on the Fluffy Pony situation with Monero, what happened there, what you were hearing when you were up in New York, and then just conclude with anything you want to say about Decred or anything that I left out with Bitcoin, anything. So it's here you go.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to preface this by saying I've heard really great things about Fluffy Pony, and out of all the kind of altcoin developers, I don't even know if you can call Monero an altcoin anymore. Its cap is so high, but all of these cryptocurrency developers, I do think he's a stand-up guy. I do think he had good intentions, and I do think his heart was in the right place when he pulled these shenanigans. And essentially, for anybody watching that doesn't know what happened, he said he was going to make this big announcement, right? And the announcement was just like a lulzy, like animated video that was just basically like an altcoin hype farce, just kind of joking around and making fun of some of these things. And so the price just tanked. But, let me remind you, even if the news was legitimate, the price would have done the same thing. So the whole kind of what he was trying to do apparently was show everybody how ridiculous it was that these teams release this crazy hype, and we're going to announce an announcement, and then the announcement comes out and the price pumps and the price dumps, and he was trying to show everybody how ridiculous that was, and how people insider trade, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, I'm sure some people got wrecked, but 'tis the risk that you take when you try to trade altcoins. I mean, it is what it is. And especially if you're trading altcoins on margin on Poloniex or BitMEX, you're just a maniac. I mean, I know it's crack, and I know sometimes when you actually, you take out an Ethereum long and you actually make money, I mean, you just feel amazing because the money is absurd, on something that moves 20, 30, 40, 50%, and you have a 2.5x long or 10x long. But I mean, it's just, you can get wrecked. You can lose everything you have, and I mean, it's exceedingly difficult to make back what you have, once you've lost it. If I have 1 Bitcoin and now I have 0.1, I mean, think about how hard it is to 10x your money, and it can happen like that, especially if you trade these news situations. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he should have done it. I forgive him just because A, I wasn't in the trade. And B, his history shows that he is a good guy, and he does care about the community, and he cares about cryptocurrency in general. But, I think in retrospect, he might not have done that, as funny as it was to me, and maybe people that weren't involved in the trade directly.
All right, I think that's a fair statement right there. A good summation for the people who did not know about it. Tell us your conclusionary thoughts of the day. You could bring up Decred, Bitcoin, anything.
Yeah, and then I think after I conclude, I think Rocky wanted to to kind of answer what I just said.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, but I think that this space is just getting attention. I was actually talking to one of my friends who manages a hedge fund, and he said that a lot of times, like, big real investors don't invest in a project or really anything until we have like a $40 billion capitalization, and then they will consider making a small investment, which to them is $200-300 million, right? We're talking about guys with just unheard of amounts of capital. Well, guess where Bitcoin is now, right? About $40 billion market cap. So we're right on the verge of where big dogs and maybe even countries would take us seriously and would consider putting enormous amounts of capital, or even a small investment of $200-300 million into Bitcoin for them. So I'm very, very excited for that. I was very glad to be able to go to New York and kind of be in that atmosphere. I really am stoked about Bitcoin and just the whole industry altogether. I heard Dan from Steem speak. He's one of the Steemit developers, correct? And he was great. I thought he was a cool guy. he was talking about another project, of course, and I'm not going to advertise on here, but it was, you know, the whole project. I mean, everything about Consensus was amazing. Everything about Bitcoin is amazing, and I really am for all of the things that could be improved upon. I really am optimistic about the future. I think it's going to happen. We're just having some growing pains right now, and I think that's typical of anything. We just need to figure out, you know, how we're going to make it past these issues.
All right. Well, I got your contact information below. All about Decred is definitely linked to below. If you want me to add anything else, do tell me later on. Check it out. Rocky, you wanted to do a follow-up to what he previously said, please.
Yes, that was some great information. Thank you so much. Now I understand what he was doing. If that's what he was doing, if he was just trying to show how easy it is to pump a coin, and then of course, you know, it got dumped after that, then you know, hats off to Fluffy. You know, I have always liked and respected Fluffy. I don't want to give the wrong idea that you know, what he did was so bad and that I hate him for it or anything like that. I really didn't understand what was going on. And if this is the case, then that was a very interesting experiment he did.
Yeah, it definitely was an experiment. It's just, I'm not a fan of doing such a massive experiment. It leaves a bad taste in certain people's mouth with Monero for a long time. And I don't agree with his approach all the time. I don't agree with this approach either. And he's going to have to deal with it. But I mean, he'll take responsibility for what he did. Hopefully, won't blame it on others, and just deal with the consequences. You got to deal with the consequences when you make a decision like that. And that's what my philosophy is always about. At least, don't blame others. Just take it. You did something. Take it in stride. Go for it. You know, whatever happens, happens. I would not have done that though. Shane, I'm going to leave you. Do you have any final thoughts, Shane? And you want to give out any more information about yourself or anything like that, I'll add some more of your links below afterwards.
Yeah, I think you already have my my links in the description from what I saw. So if anybody wants to check out what I'm doing, they can check out those links. I've got everything pretty well wrapped up. All right.
There. All right. Okay, cool. I wanted to just give you the last word just in case, because we had some extra things said there. Well, if that's it, panel, I thank you all for being on the show today. It was great. And remember, everyone, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, pound that like button. I do at least one new show every day. We'll be back on tomorrow. The Ask Me Anything is coming up on June the 1st. And of course, This Week in Bitcoin will be back next Friday, probably at a different time, because we have to plan it around people all over the world. It'll be all different guests. We have different guests every week. Obviously, we rotate some new people in and some of your favorites. So stay tuned who's coming in next week. There is a great new guy I am sure of. It's going to be there. So pound that like button. Thanks a lot, everyone. Great show. 220 live viewers. Bye-bye.